met Sean here. I was going to meet him at 12, but he's like, I can't do that. I got to watch the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the first thing you check on Saturdays.
Yeah.
When people say, "Can you do this?" and you say, "Wait a minute, game time." Yeah, I can do that.
Have you always liked football?
Yeah, I always have. I played football in junior high.
Oh, wow.
I got injured and couldn't play in high school. So,
Oh, man.
but I loved watching it. So
Oh, that
can't
sucks.
play it though.
All right. Well, I thank you for joining me today. Uh, you are currently the at-large city council member, soon to be third ward city councilman.
Correct. Yes.
Uh, what are you most optimistic about your new position in the third ward?
I guess in the third ward, I get to represent. I get to drill down into the people of the third ward rather than the whole city. So you can concentrate more on the area where you live in.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that need to be done, need to happen in the third ward. So I'm kind of anxious to, find out, first of all, what the people want, uh, because they're the people that I'm representing. So I need to find out what they need and what their concerns are, and then I need to address those concerns.
I can see that. You're also the chairman of Jobs and Economic Development Committee. Is there anything?
Yes.
Is there anything you're working on in there?
Well, there's always some things going on. We don't always have committee meetings because things are just not at a point to where you can bring them out to the public. But yeah, on the jobs economic development, we kind of depend on the city, and we work depending on Can Do, Downtown Marion Inc., all of those places that are involved in bringing in new people. But I just want to say that bringing new business into Marion is not just an administration job. It's not a council job. It's a community job. Everybody in the community needs to be involved in bringing business into this community. So if they get the opportunity to talk it up, they need to talk it up.
Right. It starts with the small businesses
Exactly.
that leads to the big
And
corporations.
that's the majority, I think. The big businesses, they're great, but the small businesses are the backbone of the community.
Right. We know a lot of the businesses that Marion residents work in. About 56% travel outside of Marion for work.
Mm-hmm.
So we know you're not collecting the corporate tax from most of them. You're just getting
Right.
the city income tax mostly. So
Well, now they don't even get most of the city income tax because 100% of that's refunded if you work outside the city.
right.
So
Okay.
the city's losing
I
out on that money.
I thought if you lived in the city, you still had to pay
If
income tax.
if you work outside the city, they'll reimburse you. I mean, you still have to pay the city
It still
tax at
comes out.
2%. But if let's say that you're outside the city and their tax out there is at 1.75, you get the whole 1.75 back.
Oh,
And
okay.
you still have to pay the 0.25% to Marion then.
Okay. I did not know that. You also oversee the traffic commission. I know they're going to be doing the U-turn lane on Delaware Avenue and Barks
Yeah,
intersection. Do you know when that's plans to be put in?
I have not heard any definite plans as far as dates, but I know that that's in the works because if you look at those yellow things that are in the middle of the street now, some of those are torn down. People
Yeah.
turn through them and tear them up and everything like
Oh,
that.
wow.
So yeah, they're going to put in some U-turns to try to avoid that situation because it's actually kind of dangerous. I had a guy the other day did a U-turn down on Delaware Avenue in front
I've
of
seen
me.
people do U-turns up right there just illegally.
Yeah,
So it would be nice to make it legal.
right.
You also on the airport lands and buildings committee. Is there anything?
No, we just okayed appropriations to redo the taxiways out there, get some new lighting. Uh, but as far as anything additional coming up, I'm not too familiar with anything that's coming up.
Okay. You graduated from Piqua Central High School in
Yes.
1965.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? You also studied accounting at Marion Technical College. Did you get a degree?
No, it did not get a
No, you
degree
just
there.
studied.
Right.
Did you use your? I know you were in the military. Did you use your GI Bill?
No, I used GTE for that.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
worked it for General Telephone
yeah,
and Electronics.
and they had an excellent tuition aid program there. Uh, if you got an A, they paid 100%. And
Oh,
if
okay.
you got a B, it was 75, C was 50, and D's were 25. And if you got an F in the course, you got nothing reimbursed. It was a reimbursement.
Oh, wow.
And so I went through that. They paid for all of it. Um, but then things got really busy and at home and at work. And yeah, I started traveling a lot.
Mhm.
So I couldn't finish it up.
I know you also had a tax and bookkeeping business that you
Yeah,
helped run while
yeah,
you were also working for GTE.
right.
Is that
Dollars
correct?
and cents business services is what I had.
Oh, wow.
Um, and there's a long story behind that, and I won't go into the whole thing, but just GTE in 1990, well, 89, 90, they started transferring people out, consolidating jobs in other states. And so I was afraid that my job was going to get transferred to Texas. And my wife said she didn't want to move to Texas. So I
Mm.
said, well, we need something here that's going to keep us here and keep us fed. So I started up a tax account, a tax business, actually, just a tax preparation business.
Mm.
Started that up in 1991. And so it eventually turned into Dollars and Cents Tax Service.
Okay, and that was eventually bought by Jim Ditmars,
Jim
which
Ditmars,
is
yeah,
right down here, right
yeah,
down the street.
it's Ditmars and Associates today. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hmm. And then you were also in the military. Do you want to talk about your time in the military?
Yeah, I was in the United States Army. Um, Went to Fort Knox, Kentucky for training, and Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I don't even know if they still exist
Mm,
anymore,
wow.
but Fort Jackson, South Carolina for advanced training. Then I went to Germany for 2 years, came back to the United States, got involved in IT, computer repair.
You also
Uh,
did some of that in the military, as I recall from
yeah,
your
when
interviews.
I went to Vietnam, that's what I did over there. Was I did, they called it automatic data processing systems
Okay.
repair, but it was a combination. In the military, we did a lot of everything. We did what they call coding today. It's programming back then, but we had to troubleshoot. We had to learn to put together components and everything to make sure that everything worked properly. So it was great training, and I enjoyed my time in the military, even though I was in Vietnam and during
Wow.
the Tet Offensive and things. So
Well, thank you for your service. My
thank you.
grandfather also served in Vietnam.
Yeah, good.
So,
Yeah,
um, what are your? Or you also owned a computer repair shop. So you are
uh,
pretty.
yeah, Future Shock Computers. Yes.
Oh, wow. How long did you run that?
I ran that. I think maybe 2 years.
Hmm.
Uh, it was a bad time to get into that business. That was a bad decision I
What year
made.
was that?
That was in 1999, I think.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, somewhere in 1999. Um, and but at that time, there was mainly what Future Shock did at the time I bought it was they were in gaming systems,
Oh, okay. So you
and
like built PCs and
yeah, and so I went into more of the PC business because the gaming business really uh, was bad. As a matter of fact, I checked Walmart, and Walmart was selling the gaming systems for $20 less than I could buy them for,
oh, wow.
because they bought them by the thousands, and I bought one or two at a time.
Right.
So we went into it, but also uh, home computers were selling pretty cheap, and small business guy just can't compete against the big store.
Kind of big production kind of took over,
Right,
came mainstream almost.
right.
What are your three favorite things about Marion?
About Marion, I love the people. I think people are great. Um, I love the way that the administration is responsive to people, at least to the people I deal with, that they do that. And then the thing that I like more, I guess, would be um, the parks. We have quite a few parks, quite a bit of things available for families to go out and do as far as recreational activities.
With the
So
shelters and things.
Yeah, the
renting and
shelters, you
stuff
can
like
rent that,
that.
and they got playgrounds at the parks and things and they're renewing those right now, so that's pretty good too.
They're doing the Rotary Park. They recently
hmm
tore that
Yeah, they
down.
just tore that down. They're going to put up it's going to be kind of like the one on Albany.
Okay.
There's a little park. When they put that back, it's going to be about that size. And,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, that one was pretty dilapidated.
yeah,
So the mulch was about gone. So,
yeah. My
um,
grandkids love to play there though.
yeah, they still
They
played
called
on
it
it.
the wooden park, but
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people liked about the
the
park
road,
by the
yeah,
hospital.
yeah.
It was so kind of looked like a castle-esque.
Yeah, well, and some people called it Castle Park.
Yep, that's
Um,
what I knew it
but
as.
I know my grandkids always wanted to go over to Rotary Park where the wooden park was and play in there.
Right. Hmm. When did you start getting into city government?
My first attempt at city government was back in 2003,
Okay.
uh, and I ran against Mike Thomas.
Hmm.
Mike Thomas was a Democrat, a well entrenched Democrat, um, and he beat me pretty bad.
Oh wow.
I think I won one precinct out of seven,
Oh
so
wow.
he won the rest of them. But Mike was a good guy. I know Mike. Mike used to work for me when I worked at the GTE. Uh, he was one of my employees. Did a good job there,
Hmm.
and he did a good job as a councilman.
You said that was a pretty big turnout, almost a record for that
It
election.
was, yeah. That I was surprised because that I think nothing's been that big since then.
Oh wow.
Um, and I don't know, about before that, but it was quite a few people showed up for that.
Hmm. Wasn't very
We had a
contested.
great, yeah, very contested, very great turnout.
Oh, wow. Hmm. What are you most optimistic about your new position in the third ward? What improvements, what initiatives are you excited for
Well,
that you
I,
plan to?
I would like to get some additional housing in Third Ward. Uh, you know, affordable housing, I would suppose, something that people can buy because man, the rates have just gone up tremendously as far as, or I guess the prices, not much necessarily the rates, because I think the rates have been fairly low,
Right.
but the cost of the house is so high.
Yeah, the average
And
medium home price has risen almost $100,000
yeah,
in the past 4 or 5 years.
which
So,
is outrageous because you just can't, and there's not the jobs in Marion to support that kind of housing. So
right,
we need lower cost housing so that people can move in, and it gives you a chance to actually build your base so that later on you can buy a more expensive home. But you got to have a place to start, and
right,
right now there's not much of a place to start unless you want to buy one of the junk houses that are out there right now, which is another thing I'd like to see is a lot of those gotten rid of.
right. Bring up property values and
Right.
revitalize the
hmm
community and whatnot.
Well, yeah, because if you've got a an abandoned home sitting there with the roof caved in and front porch sagging off there, that just tears everybody's property values up. I mean, they just go right down the tube. Somebody wants to come in and buy something or build something, they look at that and they don't want to do it anymore. They'll move somewhere else.
Right. Now, on the topic of jobs in Marion, this is just kind of some, speculation that I've always wondered.
hmm
Um, we know a lot of the corporations have been kind of, it seems like, strategically put out on the outskirts of Marion because they know the residents need jobs,
hmm
but they don't necessarily want to pay the taxes.
Right.
So, has I've kind of thought maybe if the city were to lower its tax, the corporate tax, maybe back to the 1% that it used to be at one time, or it was 1.6%, and it was supposed to only last for 2 years,
hmm
something like that. I think maybe lower the corporate tax to 1%, and then maybe the city could annex these kind of um, places where the corporations are. Maybe give them a rebate of 1 to 2 years, and to bring in more tax income.
hmm
I know the corporations probably don't want that, but
Yeah.
do you think that could possibly be?
When you say corporate tax rate, are you talking about the income tax rate for the city?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, because it's at 2 right now,
yeah,
and I
or
know that
1.75.
yeah, somewhere right around in there. Um, that the city really hurt when they lost that income tax from people working outside the city when they had to reimburse that. That hurt. That was like $500,000
Right.
worth, and so that cuts into the budget. I don't really see any way to reduce that corporate or that income tax rate down now. But what I do see and what I do favor is tax abatements for businesses that want to start up in Marion. I say if you have a 100% tax abatement on property tax in the city of Marion, okay, you're going to lose. Well, we don't get that much out of that property tax anyway,
Goes to
other
the
than
county
yeah,
mostly.
most of it goes. And the only thing we get are the mills that are inside the property tax.
Okay.
But if you do let's say a 70, we just did the 75%. So we'll say 75% abatement. You lose that tax for 10 years, but you gain back, number one, the income tax from people that work there, and you get the income tax from the business itself. So they make out because they don't have to pay the property tax. We make out because we gain the income tax. So
Right.
that's what, and I'm in favor of doing anything that will bring business into this community. Uh, at least for the 10 years or 5 years or ever how much we can do
Right.
to get them in here. And once we get them in here, and if they get entrenched, then they will likely stay.
And expand.
Right.
We need to make our city conducive to business.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We need to make people want to come here, and the only way they want to come here is, do you have good schools? Do you have good entertainment? Do you have good residential housing? All that kind of stuff. If we don't have that, they're going to look elsewhere. They go to Delaware.
Franklin County, Mansfield,
Right.
sort of those places. Um, you once said you thought the third ward was not being represented the way it should be. What approaches are you taking to address concerns?
Well, and what I meant by that was I thought that the person that's in there now was too anti-city.
I didn't mean to misrepresent you there. Sorry.
Right. That's okay. Well, and by being anti-city, you're not representing the people very well either, because there are concerns that the people want that you have to go through the city to get. You have to weigh the needs of the people against the ability of the city to provide, and so you have to kind of weigh that out. And I just felt that the person that was there now wasn't doing that very well. It was, oh, if the city wants this, no, it's a no, no matter what.
Kind of closed-minded,
Right.
vote one way,
Exactly. Yeah.
never kind of take some input
Yeah.
in from
Yeah.
other
And
council
that was
members.
my opinion. Maybe other people, I'm sure other people don't feel that way, but that's the way I felt. And that's why I decided to run for third ward.
I can respect that. Um, you bought your home in the third ward in 1979. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Hmm.
I think you said June or July 12th.
Yeah. June 10th.
Something like. Oh,
Well, June 12th, actually, and my wife's birthday is June 10th.
oh, okay.
So it was right there on that same time period when
Wow.
I transferred to Marion.
It's about 46 years,
46 years
something
ago.
like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time
Yep.
to be in one house.
Yeah. Well, when I find something good, I like to stick with it.
Right. Um, what made you want to stay? Because we know around that time is when things kind of started taking a turn in the city. We lost um, big corporations like Tecumseh,
Mhm.
Marion Power Shovel,
Right. Eaton.
Eaton, the railroads pulled out, lots of other small businesses, and
Right.
shoe repair shops and stuff like that. What made you want to stay in Marion around that time as opposed
Well,
to moving back to your hometown or somewhere else?
basically, it was the job. I worked for GTE, and GTE was a great place to work. I really enjoyed it there. There was a sense of family there. They treated the employees well, um, and the pay was not all that bad. So it was a good place. I don't think I could have found anything better uh, going to another town somewhere. So
Right. And you did not want to go to Dallas, Texas. So
No,
you
no.
that's a
Well, I would probably have went, just to stay with the job. But my wife said, no. He said, our kids are here. I'm not going.
oh, so you were pretty well established once they
Right,
were thinking about moving your job down there.
right. Yeah, we'd been here about 10, 12 years at
Oh,
that
okay,
time. So
okay. Um, you also are a board member of Downtown Marion Inc.
yes.
Is
Hmm.
there anything exciting, any announcements or current developments that you're excited for?
Nothing that I can really talk about right now, but there's a lot of good things going on with DMI. They um, they are always looking for ways to get business downtown and to make downtown more conducive to business. If you see, the birds that are on the street, the flower pots, the signs they put up, directional signs and things like that, that's all designed to make Marion downtown easier to navigate. And so they're always looking for better ways to do that because when people come in and they see that, then they say, yeah, I ought to bring my business down here and get my sign right there.
Right. They're also doing the loft projects down there
Mm-hmm.
as well,
Right,
providing housing.
right. The Lydia project that they've got going on there on the corner too.
Those are more so 1 to 2 bedroom apartments, I think so.
Oh, the lofts, you mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they like studio or
I really haven't seen them, so I
okay?
don't really know. I've only been on the DMI committee for about 2 months, 2.5 maybe months.
Yeah, Sean
Uh,
said he had you were appointed that because they didn't work with his schedule
right,
anymore.
yeah.
So he told me about it in his interview. Um, I know finance is the really the biggest topic in city council right now.
Mm-hmm.
What is the projected timelines for the audits? We know they just released the 2021 audit on the 13th, I believe it
Mm-hmm.
was, which kind of wasn't
3 years late,
yeah,
yeah.
wasn't very good. Um, what's the projected timeline for the other audits coming out?
Well, we'd like to get the other audits going as quickly as possible, but you can't really do a 22 audit until the 21's done. Well, that's done now.
Right.
So now we can start on 22. Depending on how much they find, what they find, they then that may take a matter of months or it may take a year. So it depends. We'd like to get them all done by 2027 if we could.
I
Um,
think Twyla Lang said June of 2027, somewhere around there.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if we can get them done in 2027, then we might be able to be caught up. But the thing is that we've got 22, 23, and 24. By 2027, we're going to have 25 and 26 to do. so,
Yeah.
so
Are there some concerns with the 2025 audit being delayed?
uh, probably yes,
Because we
because
have to
there's still some
keep them in
things
line.
that are existing in 2025 that need to be corrected.
Okay. The city has been going through some serious financial problems for a while, which we just discussed.
Right.
Um, just to name a few things, running huge deficits, material control weaknesses and lack of oversight, lack of bank reconciliations, um,
Hmm.
uh, appropriated money without council's consent. We had the theft of $34,000 by Brendan Owasu.
Hmm.
Um, IRS penalties, the remittance of $1.28 million to the state of Ohio,
Hmm.
which kind of the 2021 audit kind of confirms it wasn't a matter of really if this was going to happen, it was a matter of when,
Exactly. Yeah.
really, because of the really the weaknesses in the IT problems or the
Right.
IT software within the city. Um, why do you think these problems have been going on for so long? Why have they been allowed to go on for so long?
Well, I can't talk to somebody's motivation, um, but
I
I
think that's
know
another
that.
thing people want to know. Like, was this done intentionally? Was
Well, I, like I say, I don't know if it was done intentionally, but I know that it was ignored intentionally.
right?
Uh, it's kind of like, and I used this analogy once before. It's kind of like if you're walking down the street and you notice that the door of the bank is open and the vault's hanging open, and you see it, and you say, I should report that, but I won't because I want to come back later and take some money out of that vault. That's a possibility, you
Right.
know. Well, that's willful ignorance. you say, I won't do anything about it. So, and to me, that's
Kind of being
illegal, right?
complicit.
But it's not beyond the realm of possibility to think that some people did this intentionally.
Right.
We don't know. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Hopefully, we'll get to the point of where we can get some people in here to dig around and find out, okay, was this done? And there are ways, even back 20, 30 years ago, there are ways they can go in and tell if it was done intentionally or if it was just an oversight or whatever. So,
And that's really done by a full forensic IT audit.
yes, you got to
By
have the experts in.
right, that would be beyond the city's comprehension.
Yeah,
um, and
beyond mine especially.
right, I know you said I watched your interviews with the Marion Watchman, and
Uh-huh.
you said a lot of the stuff now today is out of your realm compared to what you worked on in Vietnam and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, just I worked on it when they had the big transistors and it was the second generation after the tubes. So the tubes were the high. Now they can get 100,000 tubes in one little chip. So
Yeah, then
it's
yeah,
just
it is
amazing.
really crazy how
More than
technology
hundred
is.
thousand. So,
Wow. With your background in finance and computers, in your opinion, why do you think these problems have been allowed to persist for so long? Why do you think really the people working in IT didn't say anything about these problems?
well, to me that's the same as kind of like sweeping dirt under the rug.
Right.
Okay, you don't want people to see how dirty your house is. But if somebody's coming, you sweep it under the rug and it looks great on top.
You put the
Yeah.
dirty dishes in the oven.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that might be part of what went on was here I am. I'm in the administration. I've got all these people working with me, but you know, I don't want to bring this up, and I have to commend Bill Collins because Bill said it needs to be taken care of. So he brought it to the surface, and you know, people look at you and say, "Yeah, things really screwed up on your watch," just like with Bob Landon, the IRS mistake, but that wasn't really due to anything other than the fact that there were not good controls on
They
the
were it
computer
actually
system.
been disabled
Right,
from the beginning of the installation of the New
exactly.
World
So,
system.
but I think that the reason they were let go so long is because nobody wanted to own up to it. Nobody wanted to bring it to the forefront because they were afraid they'd get blamed for it.
Or possibly lose their job, be
Right,
prosecuted, and yeah, like you said, even be blamed for it, be
right.
kind of like Robert Landon has been.
Yeah,
Um, Even you look up on Google, that's what it points to
that's it.
is the remittance of that tax money. So it doesn't really go any farther than that. I know a lot of
Well, I know that they brought charges against him,
yeah, he had
and
the IRS penalty
but
of
he
like
was
100.
exonerated. There was nothing to it. So they found out that hey, it was not his doing. It was the system that failed.
And he says he was kind of um, controlled from the beginning of going into his tenure, not giving certain accesses that he was supposed to be given, and where, or at least that's what I've taken from
Right.
kind of people going behind his back or stuff like that. Um, that's also crazy to me.
Yeah.
There were people in there that were openly trying to not let this stuff come out.
From the first day.
Right.
From the first day in office, they were after him. Um, and I know that there were people in the administration that that did not have the clearance that they were supposed to have as far as being able to access things in the system, high level access.
Yeah, having override
But
access and
yeah,
password sharing
yeah,
and
right, and they had access higher than he did, and
as the auditor.
yeah,
So
exactly. So that's wrong in itself, right there.
wow. I know a lot of the speculation is mainly most of the corruption, I guess you would say, is from utility billing. Would that be
Yeah.
correct to say?
Well, and that's actually the most active. I mean, that's where most of your
Where
money
most of
comes
the
in and goes
transactions,
out,
yeah.
and the transactions happen. So yeah, that would be probably it's just like a high traffic area, and most of your accidents are going to be in high traffic areas.
Wow. It's very compelling but scary topic.
Exactly. Yeah. And we need to get that done. We need to find out what went on and what's still going on and get it straightened up.
Right. I think that's just the best way to. We got to do the audits. Got to have them come out, whether they're good or bad, whether people like them or not. They've got to be done.
Well, and I used to teach first aid with the Red Cross, and one of the first things they tell you to do is stop the bleeding. That's what you have to do. You have to find out what's wrong and stop it, and
Right.
then go back and fix all the problems.
Then go out and find who was responsible, who
Right.
had it happen, and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, Council recently covered Ordinance 2025-104. This is to let the City of Marion enforce State of Ohio's building codes. You think there could be concerns with maybe like rushed inspections or things not really being up to code with contracting it out to a third party?
I don't think that that's going to be the problem, um, because I think the third party is going to have to comply with the state too.
Right, right.
I don't, but my concern on that, and I did vote for it
Yeah,
because I think we need something in place. But my concern is that it's just another layer of
and that costs the city more money too as well.
right. But then I've got friends that have bought businesses or building businesses here in town, and they waste you waste a lot of money waiting on inspections.
Just sitting
Um,
idle time, you're still paying labor, you're still, you know,
exactly, yeah. Well, and the costs are going up too. If you're building a building and you're waiting on electrical inspection so that you can get the drywall and do things, the cost jumps up while you're waiting. And if you're waiting 2 and 3 months for an inspection, the cost can go up $2 or $3.
yeah, it seems like prices go up by the day now.
By the day, yes.
um, City council can get heated. Can you give me an example of a tough vote that you took, even if it wasn't popular?
It's kind of hard to think. I really haven't been in any real discussions as far as at odds with anybody since I've been there. I'm sure that day's coming, um, because uh, there are certain things that some people think are good, other people think are bad, um, and eventually I'm going to be on one side or the other of that. With the and yeah, you're right. They can become heated. Um, yeah, if I had been in council when they wanted to do away with that income tax outside
You
the
probably
city,
would have been
I would
pretty
have been against
outspoken.
that. Yes, because to me, you pay the tax. Uh, so, but I can't think of anything right offhand that where I've been toe to toe with somebody.
Okay.
Uh,
Anything that you've really been opposed to that you didn't want to pass and it passed?
Let me think. Um,
I'm sure there's quite a few,
But
but
yeah, there are some things that I wish had not passed. I just can't think of them right offhand. I know one of the things that I was really in favor of, and we were getting a lot of heat from, was the night moves bus.
mhm.
I was in favor of that. I think
That
the
goes
night
out to the hotels out by
right, they
Walmart
called
and
it the
stuff like.
party bus,
Right.
but and it may have started out being a party bus. I don't know, but I thought the insight to that, Julie Welch and the administration took on that was very good, because even if it's a party bus, if it goes out to a bar and picks somebody up and takes them home, then that's a good thing because that keeps them off the street behind a wheel.
Right.
You know, so you do. And now I know there's other things, that you can call a cab, you can do this or
It's
whatever.
kind of hard to find a
But
cab in Marion.
exactly, yeah. And they've always had problems with Marion with taxis because nobody seems to frequent them or
I know when
whatever.
I was a kid, we would used to take Frank's cab
I
all the
remember Frank's,
time.
yeah,
My mom would get paid on the first of the month, and he'd take us to Walmart. We'd go
yep,
to Dollar General. We'd go to McDonald's. He'd be tired of us by the end of the day.
yep,
So,
yeah,
um, um, council also approved Ordinance 2025-106. This reestablishes the role for an economic development director for the city and the county. Now, was that passed? I know
yeah.
it was approved by council, and the county hasn't signed
Right.
any sort
Yeah,
of
and
contract right now.
what that does is it'll be 30 days before that can take effect.
Okay.
And in that 30 days, the city administration is going to get with the county, work out a contract, and see, how the county is going to help out. They've made verbal promises, but we want to get it in writing. Um, and if that does not happen, then at the end of the 30 days, that's not going to take
Then
effect.
it's not good.
Um, what One of the things well, I don't know if you're familiar with Wesley Davis or not, but she's running for the 86th
Yes,
district seat that Tracy Richardson has now.
up against Ben Weber,
Yeah,
and I think there's one other
yeah, there's
opponent.
one other guy too. Um, but she contacted me and we had lunch and talked it over. But she came up with the idea of using TIF money or tax incentive fund money for to do the job economic development guy. The only thing is that money has to be considered to be oversight of the TIF fund. And I brought it up at council that, we need to put that into the job responsibilities, that he would have oversight of the TIF. And that way we could pay him out of that. Well, Wesleyan had 3 different attorneys check that to make sure it was okay and above board and legal to do. And so then she presented it to the city and to all the council. She sent the email and everything. And I think it's legal to do. I think we could fund 100% of that economic development director through TIF.
Right.
Wouldn't take a penny out of the general fund.
But really just 50% because the county would be
Yeah,
responsible for the
yeah,
other
because
half.
the county can do exactly the same thing.
Now I know the base salary is 120,000. With not funding can do, the mayor said we can use that $41,600, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
to put towards that for this year. Um, but with the Ohio State House introducing the bill to cut or really reduce property taxes
Or
and
remove them.
yeah, would the county really have or are they putting aside the money for this position or?
Well, I guess it's common sense that you don't do away with a tax until you get something else to replace it with, because you can't stop fire and you can't stop police, you can't stop the
The
emergency
libraries,
squads.
which we're in right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. In the schools,
Yeah, Marion
you
City
just
School stands to lose up to $800,000 a year.
a year, yeah, and the city and the fire, because although the city and the fire or the police and the fire are not funded from property taxes itself, there are millages that go into there, like you see a 3 mil levy go through or whatever, and that's added onto the property tax. Well, they would lose all that,
Right.
and so they would have to go down to bare skeleton minimums, uh,
Lay off
just to be able to function.
officers and
Oh yeah, and you wouldn't
firemen.
have, you know, when seconds count, the police could be there in the minutes, but
Well, we know they don't really. The first thing they would lay off would be probably dispatchers, and then they
right,
would move to officers and
mm-hmm.
stuff like that. They don't want
Right.
to. And then so with that, with them potentially losing the county losing all of that money, do you think uh, they would even agree to this to fund that position?
Well, like I say, if they could get something to replace it,
Okay, okay, okay.
then they wouldn't have a problem.
Right. Do you know? Do you
If
have?
there's nothing to replace it with, nobody can afford it. The city can't afford it either.
Yeah, when I went to the Harding Day dinner and Vivek Ramaswamy spoke there, he kind of somebody spoke up and said, "Well, what do you plan to replace the property tax or the income tax money with? How do you
Mm-hmm.
plan to replace that?" And I honestly, he didn't really give us a really good
I
answer.
don't think anybody has.
Nobody really has a good
Yeah,
answer for
right.
it. So
The only thing that I can see is you raise sales tax up to 15%,
right,
or you raise your income tax up, your local income tax, raise it up a couple 3%.
but
Uh,
they may have
so
Vivek trying to get rid of income
get rid
tax.
of it, yeah, and if you want a community that's going to provide for its citizens, and I've always said that the the primary mission of any government is to protect its citizens, to ensure the safety of the citizens. That includes street repair, that includes fire, that includes police, that includes schooling and everything else. So that's your primary objective, to make sure that those people can live in a safe manner. If you get rid of all those taxes, you can't do that. You're failing in your main mission.
Right. I think a lot of people get really heated because of the financial issues that are going on within the city. They're not being good stewards of tax dollars. They say, "Hey, we just don't want to pay it. We don't want to give it anymore.
Right.
We would like this bill to pass," but they're not really thinking about the
Exactly.
the reparations or the what could come from it.
Mm-hmm.
Schools, libraries, fire, police,
Right.
all that stuff could be really diminished. So I think some people really need to look more into it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and public information, knowledge is the secret to life. You really need to know what's going on. Just like you have a lot of information and everything, so and you can answer things in an intelligent manner. But in today's world of instant communication, so many people I see post something on Facebook, and it gets shared 150 times, and that goes out to everybody on their friends list. People don't take the time to say, what does this person really say? Is it a fact, or is it just something like they're sitting there saying, well, I bet this, and they type it in and
Just
and
kind
it's
of off
done.
the
Yeah,
cuff. We saw
right.
that with Mr. Prater in that
Exactly. Yeah.
recent thing. People kind of took it way out of proportion.
Yeah.
So
Admittedly, it was a bad judgment thing.
right,
Uh, a non-council member, nobody would have said a word.
right. Yeah, he
But
was also in with that very contested race and
right.
Anthony Azaria, and so I can see the kind of
Mm-hmm.
um, you know I know political warfare, I guess you could say, is I didn't really know it was that bad in Marion.
Yeah, well, and even when I ran in the primary, there was a couple of people that were calling names and doing all kinds of things, uh, which absolutely serves no basis whatsoever. If you're running in a political campaign, the first thing you want to do is to tell people what you're going to do. You know,
Right,
what am I going to do to make it different from what you've already got? And if I can't measure up to that, then I don't deserve the job.
right.
But if I can do that, then I will.
That's a big problem. People reading all the articles and the fake news, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
They're not actually reading about the person. They're reading about what others are saying about the person.
exactly.
They're not
Yeah,
taking in what you're saying,
it's
or
all based on facts, and if you don't do the facts, then you're getting one side of the story.
and people can't really remember much. Their attention spans are low.
Right.
You're constantly just scrolling on Facebook, I
Well,
guess,
and I
seeing.
think too that they don't want to take the time that's necessary to do the research.
Right.
One thing I don't know, you're probably familiar with Naomi Craig.
Yeah.
And Naomi is a constant source of irritation for the city administration. But by golly, she researches and she investigates, and I have to give her credit that she does what she has to do to find out what's going on, and I really respect her for that.
And a lot of the
Even
stuff
though I
she's
don't,
not wrong.
I don't agree with all of her views,
Right.
but I respect the way she goes about it.
And I think that dialogue is what we have lost.
Right.
People don't want to talk anymore. They're just quick to throw shade or
Mm-hmm.
you just entirely write the person off in their opinion. They don't want to. People don't want to change their opinion. They're
Right.
kind of stuck in their
They
mindset.
they don't want to hear yours. This is what my opinion is, and I don't want to hear yours. I'll walk away. Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of
I think a lot of people fail to realize like the red and blue is kind of what separates.
right.
Unless people come together, we're never going to have a good community.
You have to, and I think I said the other night on the Marion Watchman thing, I think a lopsided council, 8-1, either direction is wrong. I think you need,
The
7 to
partisan,
2, 6 to 3, something like that,
right?
or even 5-4, um, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, just like
Yeah,
Cody said.
I think
But
the nonpartisan is a big issue for people too, with the council being mostly red. They think
mhm.
the council is just going to vote in one way.
Oh no, I think we're going to vote. I know there's a 2 or 3 people on council that look at the issues and they vote according to the issues. And as a matter of fact, I've never been approached to say, you know, vote Republican.
Right,
It's
right. They've never
vote
told you how to vote.
right.
You've always
Uh,
went in with an open mind, and
yeah,
um,
and I weigh it on the circumstances at the time and go from there.
that's what Mr. Barr told me as well. He said he represents people with Republican values and liberal
Well,
values.
yeah, everybody in the third ward is going to receive equal attention from me. Uh, I don't care what their political, their race, or anything else is. They're human beings,
Right, and taxpayers.
right?
So that's the biggest part.
Or even people that don't pay tax, I'll represent because there's some that
They still live in the
they
city,
can't. Yeah, they live in the city. They're constituents, and they have the right to be represented.
right? Um, Marion residents overwhelmingly voted the charter initiative down. Did you share some of the same concerns as the public?
I thought the charter was a good thing.
Right.
I grew up in a charter city. Um, but I thought that the charter would be a good thing for Marion. I think the reason it failed is lack of education, and that falls back on the people that want the charter, city council, city administration, whoever wants it there.
And also the commission members.
Right. Well, the commission members actually didn't
Well,
get a chance.
proposed commission
Yeah,
members.
proposed, but in order to, I really think that we need to have a coordinated educational program on the charter for the city, and I plan on doing that uh, during the next 2 years because I would like to see this get back on the ballot. But I think that people are afraid to vote for something they're not familiar with. So if they become familiar with it, I think we should bring in people from the charter cities and have an open forum here or somewhere else.
I think
Have an
we had
open
one
forum.
at one point when a charter initiative came up in the city, and almost 1,000 people attended it.
Exactly. And you need to have more than one of those. You need to have several because the same 1,000 people are not going to show up every time.
Then they have debates at the Women Voters Club. I think
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name fully, but do you know how many people attended that? Was
No,
it
I wasn't familiar with that one.
okay?
But
I don't think it was a very big turnout
yeah.
at all. Um, uh, how are you taking in voter feedback to help the council moving forward about the charter initiative?
Well, I knock on people's doors. I leave my card, tell them if they have any issues. I also do the same thing on Facebook because there's several people in my ward that are on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I would recommend anybody in the third ward, if they see this video, um, to look for my Facebook page um, and send me a friend request
Or email you.
or email me. Yeah, I've got an email address,
You go on the
phone.
city website and
Yeah,
find all of the
exactly.
councilmen's.
But I can't do the job by myself. There's no way because it's like flying blind. You don't
Right.
know what the people need, what they want, so you don't know how to go on an issue. So I would recommend, like on the charter, if you're in third ward and you're for the charter or against the charter, let me know, and that gives me the way to vote. Same thing with the economic development director. Same thing with the building code. Anything in this city that's going to affect people in the third ward, I need to know about it. I
Don't
need
be
to know
afraid
how
to
they
speak
feel.
to your councilman,
Right.
basically. I know a lot of the people were skeptical about it because of the people that were on the commission. You had the police chief, former
Yeah.
deputy, the law director, um, many people
Right.
that are kind of contested, I guess you could say. And my big question is, why have none of these? I mean, maybe some of them, but why have none of them ran for city council before? If they want to if they want to make changes to the city, why haven't they? Why do they want to just start now? Why are they?
Right. Well, a lot of those people are employed by the city, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
probably wouldn't do it. But I know that when we first started talking about this charter last year, I think, uh, I was in favor of saying no administration and no city council people should be
yeah.
on
The
that
mayor
committee.
was also one
Yeah,
going to
the
be
mayor
on
was
there as
on it
well.
too. Um, and and I think that they were doing that to secure their jobs. Really, I think that the administration wanted to get on there, um, And if you're going to allow administration and council, then I would say one or two, not six or eight.
Yeah, it's about eight or
Yeah,
six or eight.
but I'm in the favor of no city council and no administration people allowed on that commission.
Most of them came from the sixth ward, if I do
Right?
recall right.
Yeah.
I wonder why. The sixth ward is really the most political
Most active.
ward,
Yeah.
most active. I wonder, why do you think that is?
Um, Good question. I think that, um, well, we proved back in 2003 that third ward could be very active too.
Right.
I just think that people in the sixth ward are more tuned in. Somebody,
That's all right.
somebody's at my front door.
Oh man.
But yeah, the people in the sixth ward are more tuned in to politics. I think that more business people live in the sixth ward. More of the city administration would live in the sixth ward. So they're more tuned into politics. Whereas people in the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth wards, you know, they're concerned with the basic
They're
everyday
too worried about
life.
housing,
Yes.
Food,
Right.
stuff like that. They don't care about. They could care less about government.
Getting a job, paying the rent.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people's concerns nowadays,
Yeah.
especially with how everything is raised 15 to 20% over in the past 5 years,
Right.
and we know the for CPI through 20 to 24 about 20 to 23%, but we had prices, healthcare, everything up here at 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I guess there's really no incentive for employers to raise wages, with the poor job market and whatnot. Right. So I think that is really a lot of what people could really care less about government. They're worried about, is my check going to be big enough this week to cover me till next week? A lot of people live from week to week, so I think that's a lot of people's main concerns.
Well, and it's a never ending cycle, because if you raise wages as a business owner, if you raise wages for your employees, you've got to recover that money some way.
Right.
And so you raise your prices. Well, whoever buys your product at a higher price is going to have to raise their prices. So it's a constant cycle. So, I don't know how you avoid that, really.
Right.
Because you can't really come out and say, okay, all prices are frozen, all wages are frozen.
Yeah.
Because human beings are achievers. We want to improve. And if you freeze everything at the level it is today, what's the incentive to do anything different?
Right.
So,
and that kind of plays into the whole AI boom, especially since
right.
Marion relies on manufacturing so heavy.
Right.
Does the thought of AI kind of scare you for Marion's manufacturing?
Yeah, it bothers me as far as that goes, because, kind of like the property tax, if you're going to bring something in that's going to replace jobs, you need something to so that those people can find a way to live. Excuse me. You need a way to find a way that they can make a living, because you can't just come in and say, okay, everybody in this building is laid off. We're going to have this computer do it.
I know in China they have dark factories.
Yeah.
Where only a couple people are running the computers.
Well, and if you look at Marysville, Marysville just okayed a data center.
Okay.
And that data center is going to consume like 1.2 gigawatts of power, tons of water to cool the units down. It's going to employ 12 people. So that's a huge resource drain. And what do you get back from it? 12 employees.
I know with these data centers, I've watched some documentaries about them, and the cities kind of really don't benefit at all.
No,
The water system is polluted.
right,
The noise from the factory constantly going on, it's like a whirring
right.
kind of noise. Um, the air just and you know they're not really that nice to look at either.
Well, yeah, it's
So
just a big building, but you know, my main concern is the resource drain on the city, and the amount that you get back from it is very, very little. You know, you get 12 employees, and you might get their income tax, or maybe not.
and where's all that money is going to the company? It's not going to
Exactly.
the city. That's what we see a lot in Marion too as well. A lot of the companies on the outskirts that do rely on a lot of Marion
Mm-hmm.
city workers don't invest into the
Right.
community. We have Whirlpool and Nucor, Wyandotte. They invest into the community a lot, but you have like Innovation Drive. I don't know if any of those invest into the community. That's a
Oh, they
lot.
do. Yeah.
They do. That's a lot of kind of what happened when we had Tecumseh pull out and Marion Power Shovel. We lost, you know, like my grandfather tells me about a time when he worked at Whirlpool. He could go into the executive vice president's office and tell
Yep.
them any problems he was having, and they would be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
But now the CEOs of
Yep.
the corporations they would rather they couldn't care less to live in Marion.
Right.
So I think we've lost a lot of our community leaders since that time. Then I think we have some,
Yeah.
but when the community needs to kind of step up more. Just
I agree.
the people kind of it's talk more. You know. The mayor recently also sent a letter to the state auditor offering, or the auditor's office asking for fiscal analysis. They stated the city needed to focus on cost cutting and increasing revenue.
Right.
Um, do you know how the city plans to cut costs?
Haven't heard
Where
it.
they
Oh, I know that. Gee, I've got something in my throat here. I know that they have during the budget, and they've asked people to cut where they can. I haven't heard of any specific figure, you know, percentage wise or whatever, but I know that they're asking, uh, you know, the sections, departments in the city to cut back where they can.
so
Uh,
that could play into public transportation, public
right.
utilities, and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I don't think they want to cut any services, but
Right, right,
they
right.
want to cut, you know, any expenses. You know, everybody's got some fluff in their everyday life, and I think probably city administration does too. And so they're trying to trim the fat, so to speak.
I know Marion City, um, they kind of saved like $3.2 million this year or something like that. So if the schools can go in and save a significant amount of money, I think
Yeah,
the city
I think
can.
everybody can.
So, what results are you hoping come from the state analysis?
Well, you know, the ideal thing would be if if they come back and they say, "No, you guys are in good shape," but I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
Uh, the thing that I would like to see happen is the problems addressed. Go back, you know, if they say you need a forensic audit, then that's exactly what we need to do. We need to have somebody come in and go back in history and come forward and say, this was wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. If this person did something illegal, then let's go after them. I don't know if the statute of limitations would apply or not, but I think they need to go back there. We need to get it straightened up because, you know, if we don't even know if we're spending overspending or not because we don't know how much we've got. You know, that's the thing. It's so hard to tell because the new world system is so off that it could be telling you that you've got $100,000 and you might have $600,000, or it could be telling you you've got 600 and you've only got 100. So you don't know.
I know in the recent 2021 audit that just came out, it says like $543,000 are unaccounted for.
Right.
Lack of bank reconciliations, basically.
Exactly.
Um, it's just really crazy.
Yeah.
To how this has been going on over. I'm 23, so this has been going on my whole life.
Yep. Your whole life.
My mom was born in 1980, so this could have been going on her whole life.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm a fourth generation resident of Marion. I live in the right outside the county. I just learned I don't live in the city.
Yeah.
So that kind
Green
of
light's
upset
on.
me.
All right.
But we had to
You need
move.
be right.
We were asked to move out of the kids section, so that's why there will be the cut in the video. I'll ask you the question we were on before. What results are you hoping come from the state analysis?
From what?
The state analysis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just hope that we find what the problem was. If somebody was guilty of doing something wrong, then we get a hold of them and punish them. And if there's any money missing, maybe we can get some restitution back, because money gone is money that's not being spent on the citizens of this town. So
Get a little bit of
I just hope that we
reconciliation.
get that back.
Okay. How do you plan to have more transparency when it comes to not only voters but all residents?
Well, I want to be open. You talk about me personally.
Just all of city council, like
Okay, yeah.
with the financial kind of aspect, I guess.
Well, I know that any meeting that we have is open to the public.
Right, and it's
by law.
live on the Marion City page.
It's live on the page. So anybody that has any questions on anything, they can come up there, and we have a period of time after the business is taken care of. That matters not on the agenda. Anybody can come up and address the council. They can address the administration, any questions they have, and I guarantee you that they will get back to you. Maybe not right away, depending on what's going on or what it's about, but they will get back to you if you have a question. As far as being more transparent than that, I don't know how you can really do that.
Right. In your view, what are the top 3 governance challenges facing Marion right now, whether it's fiscal policy, land use, or interdepartmental coordination? And how have you worked to implement better standards within the city offices?
Okay, well, as far as the last part of your question first, I haven't done anything as far as trying to develop better standards, because we really haven't approached that point yet. But I think interdepartmental is fairly good within the city of Marion. I don't, well, with the exception of the treasurer and the auditor.
We know they don't talk.
Yeah, there's a
and we know
problem
they
there.
don't want to talk to city council.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah, and to me that's a red flag, because when you have the oversight of something, and you say, okay, what about this, and they either don't answer you or they give you some big roundabout answer. It's like, are they trying to hide something, or do they just not know what they're talking about? And uh,
kind of
it's
beating
hard to
around the
tell
bush.
it's hard to tell which it is, whether they don't know what they're doing, or they're doing something they don't want you to know about.
Right.
So, but I don't know if I answered all of your questions.
Yeah, just what do you think the top 3 governance challenges facing Marion are right now?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think overcoming the problems with the budget, and to me, the city is like a family. And as a family, you've got a budget, you've got an income coming in. If you work, you and your spouse works, or if only one of you work, you've got a set amount of income coming in that you can count on. And so you do your budget based on how much income you think is going to be coming in. And we have to make sure that we don't overspend, because if you do that, then you have to go to the bank and take out a loan. Marion cannot take out a loan because they've lost their bond rating.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much stuck that way. So we have to be very, very careful.
And we could get to the point where we have to ask the state to spend any money. So
exactly. Yeah. If they come up with a fiscal emergency, then we're in a position kind of like bankruptcy, where you can't spend a dollar.
But the city can't file bankruptcy.
No,
so.
they can't. But that's the way you're treated. Is okay. If you want to allocate money to this particular project, we have to okay it first.
Right.
And that would be the problem.
And then that would really stall things.
Slows things way down.
My last question: what are you optimistic about going into 2026?
Well, I think we've got some pretty good people on council. A couple of things I would like to see happen is I would like to see us go to 4-year terms rather than 2-year, um, because every 2 years, you get done, you got a year, and then you have to start working on the next year. So if you could actually focus on the first 3 years and concentrate on the last year as far as reelection or elections, that would be a lot better. Um, and I would like to see us go to a 5-person committee rather than a 3-person committee, because with the sunshine laws in the state of Ohio, if you have a majority of people of a committee or council or something discussing an issue, that's a violation of the sunshine law. Uh, if you have a 3-person committee, 2 people can't talk. You can't talk to anybody else on your committee about anything as far as what that committee is functioning for.
Really?
So, but if you have 5 people on a committee, 2 of those can talk back and forth and not violate the law. And that helps you get the idea together for the committee as far as, okay, how do we want to proceed on this? The actual voting and everything on that committee is going to be open. It's going to be wide open. But 2 people should be able to talk about an issue like, what do you think about the alley vacation here? And then you come together as a committee, discuss it in public, and go from there.
Right. I think that's all the questions I got for you. Is there anything
All
else
right.
you want to add?
No, just that, the same thing that I always preach is we need the public's input. All of council does, not just me. Everybody on city council needs to hear from the people they represent so that they can represent them. You can't represent somebody if you don't know who they are or what they want. So, uh, public, please get in touch with us.
All right, Mr. Ralph Smith, I thank you for joining me and
Well,
look
thank
forward to
you.
talking to you
Yeah,
again.
thanks a lot. Good to
Thank
meet you.
you.
Yeah.
Yep.